so if you've decided a combination machine is the right machine for you, but you still have questions about space requirements, power requirements, or perhaps requirements when it comes to dust extraction, then stick around and I'm going to answer those questions for you. Okay, so my machine is a Felder CF741 Pro. It is a 10'6" slider. All the machines in this 700 series are the same width. The only thing that really changes on them now is the length of the slider. So to look at the dimensions, overall dimensions that you need in the length of the machine, this machine of mine is like I said, the 10'6" slider. The dimension here of the saw table is the same for all the machines at 1110 millimeters. In this position, where it's locked in, I've got, well, to the end here, roughly 47 inches or just shy of 1200 millimeters. But the important dimension is when the slider is pulled all the way back. And for the 10'6" slider, from the table of the saw here, we're looking at 3045 millimeters or 10 feet. The 2800 millimeter long slider, that's reduced to 2645 millimeters or 104 inches. And for the 2500 millimeter slider version, it goes down to 2362 millimeters or 93 inches. So then obviously when the material is pushed through, the table is going to end up all the way the other side of the blade. And in this case, for the 10'6" slider, it is 2502 millimeters or 98.5 inches. For the 2800 millimeter slider version, it is 2102 millimeters or 82 3/4, and these are just approximate. And for the 2500 mil version, it's 1807 millimeters or 71 1/8. So when you combine those, those numbers, for the 3200 millimeter, the longest slider version of this combination machine, the total space you need in length is 6,657 millimeters or 262 inches. And for the 2800 millimeter version, it is 5857 millimeters or 230.5 inches, give or take. And for the 2500 millimeter version, it is 5269 or 207.5 inches. So this being the S model of machine, the base under the slider itself is longer, specifically for these longer sliders. The regular version, the 741, same with the 531, it's shorter, it's just a little bit longer than the table itself. And with that version of the combination machine, I believe you can go up to a 2500 mil slider, and it goes all the way down to maybe a 5 or 6 foot version of the slider. I'm not exactly sure. My CF531 actually had a 82 inch or 2050 millimeters, I believe. So for the overall length that you need for those, well, the 25, I'm going to say on the smaller machine, the regular 741 version, the 2500 mil long slider will be the same. The amount of space you need is 5,269 millimeters or 207.5 inches. But obviously when you go down to the smaller sliders on those, then obviously that space is reduced. So just keep in mind that you do need a little bit of space either end of that, because you don't want to be belting the slider into things. So, and you may want to be able to get around it when you've got the table locked in those positions. So, okay, so for the width, all these 741s are the same. They're 700 series, 41 being the width of the jointer planer, or 16 inches roughly. And all the machines are the same at roughly 1500 millimeters or 59 inches. Just remember though that you're going to need a minimum, I would say, of 2 feet on the other side of that to be able to operate the jointer planer, and ideally, 30 inches would be ideal. Then we come to the outrigger, and in my case I have the 1500 millimeter outrigger, which is from the saw blade is roughly 1450 mil or 57 inches. I've got the 3200 millimeter crosscut fence on my outrigger, and it measures 1830 millimeters from the side of the machine. And when extended, it's 2850. Now, if we add the width of the machine and the space required for operating the jointer, we end up with a total of 4950 millimeters. For the shorter 2600 millimeter crosscut fence, those measurements would be 1630 millimeters from the side of the machine, and when extended, 2250, for a total width of 4350. Now, bear in mind that that outrigger doesn't have to stay on the machine. With my CF741 that I had and the smaller outrigger, I was able to manhandle that on and off. It was a little bit awkward, a little bit heavy, but it was certainly doable. With this larger outrigger, however, while I did it a couple of times before I had the cart, it's not, I wouldn't advise it. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. With this accessory, it makes it super easy to take the outrigger off the slider and put it back on with very little effort, I should say. I won't say without any effort, but with very little effort. So simply like that, and all of a sudden you gain all that space back, which for me, when I'm just assembling jobs, or I'm just not doing a lot of sheet goods or things where I need the outrigger, being able to take it off and work without it it's awesome. Power is the other thing I want to talk about, and what you're going to get when you get your machine is basically a cable. I don't know, this is what came standard with it, so I'm going to say there's probably 4 meters or about 12 feet of cable. It won't come with a plug end on it like this. That's going to depend on where in the world you are and what is required for that. This machine is 3-phase, and it's 15 amp, so obviously I'm in an industrial setting here, so power isn't really a concern. But if you're operating from home, whether it be in a garage or something like that, you need to check what the power requirements are on the machine that you've got, whether it be 3-phase or single phase. With my old machine, the CF741, that was single phase, that was 30 amps. So it's important to check what power requirements there are on the machine that you're looking at or buying or whatever, and make sure, especially if you're in, say you're working from home, or you're a hobbyist, using this machine in your garage, that you've got the capacity on your panel to be able to run a machine like this, because it will draw quite a bit of power under load and on startup as well. So you're going to need to talk to your electrician about making sure that you're able to supply the power to the machine that's needed. They'll have to run, obviously, power to an outlet and have an outlet there, and then put a plug on the lead to be able to plug it in, and away you go. So the other thing to keep in mind is power for the feeder. You may get a feeder that's 3-phase and you can run it on the same power. Obviously it's going to need another outlet for that, separate outlet. The feeder that I got is actually a single phase, because I was all set up for that. And that's what this outlet's for. I've just got that like on a pendant, if you like, hanging down, so that when I put the power feeder up, I can just plug that in and I'm good to go. So keep that in mind too. You'll want some either single phase or 3-phase power for your feeder if you're going to get a feeder. Now, when it comes to dust extraction for this combination machine, I've had to actually write some numbers down. So you're going to want a minimum of 814 cubic meters an hour, or 480 cubic feet per minute at 1450 pascals, or roughly 5.8 inches of water, with a airspeed of 20 meters, or 20 meters a second, or 65 feet per second. So definitely, well beyond the realms of a small, 1 horsepower dust extractor or something like that, or a shop vac. That's just not going to cut it. I originally had the Felder RL125 hooked up to this machine. That meets all those requirements. It's a clean air dust extractor, meaning the air that is returned to the shop is super clean. There's no dust. It's like less than a micron. So really, really good. The only reason why I've since gone to this bigger machine is the capacity. It only held 55 litres of wood chips, and when I'm machining up a lot of stuff, that fills up like that, literally. So yeah, this new machine is double that capacity. I still have to empty it a lot when I'm doing a lot of machining, but it's a lot better. So whatever dust extractor you are looking for, you need to hit those numbers. Keep that in mind, because that is definitely going to be another expense. The RL125 that I had, you could literally just plug it in when you need it, and if you needed it on another machine, you can just roll it over to another machine and use it. So that's a good size for this machine, especially if you're only operating that machine. And if you have other machines that you want to use it on, then it's literally a case of disconnecting the hose and hooking it up to the next machine. So with that in mind, let's turn our attention to hooking the dust extractor up. And what we're going to need for that is a combination really of some 5-inch ducting, or 5-inch hose, if you like, if we're going from, say, an RL125 or something like that. And that's going to work for our main ports here, and there's one down on the side of the machine here, which is for the saw unit. And if we take that off, then that one, and that's how I've got it set up here at least, that then when I'm using the jointer, that simply pops onto there. If I move that across and lift the table up to do some cleaning, that simply sort of lays out over there. So that's pretty simple. They're a 120 millimeter port on the machine, and I'm just using a 5-inch flexible hose on a 120 by 120, so it's like a male-female adapter. It's just plastic. This was from Felder. Looks like I need to tighten it up actually. So that slips inside the hose, and the hose clamp just tightens down on that. And then that obviously just goes over the port. It's nice and easy to come on and off. So that's the main dust port. Okay, so the next one to consider is the hose for the guard. Really, I mean, it's not critical that you use this, but it does reduce the dust dramatically when you're cutting stuff. So especially if you can keep the guard pretty low to the material. This is a 2.5-inch hose, and the good old tuck tape, or any sort of duct tape or whatever will probably do to adapt it. I've just got, I'm not sure, a fitting probably from the local hardware or whatever for shop vacs or whatever, and adapted that to there. And then I'm just using a metal duct part to hook it up to this. And I've done that because the third part of the equation, if you like, with the dust extraction is for the shaper. So while the main dust port goes onto the back of the shaper hood and carries most of the stuff away, the other one is the 80 millimeter dust port for under the shaper. And then that is just, I've just got a 3-inch hose here that, again, I've just got it taped to a metal duct part to adapt there. And then on the bottom, again, I've just sort of got some fittings that have been close enough and made them work so that I can attach it. This actually just comes on and off as well, but that way I can just take that off and stick that up there, and away I go. So that's sort of that for the dust collection. Well, there you go. Hopefully that gives you some idea of what is required on top of the initial purchase of the machine. You need to think of electrical stuff, getting that sorted out, and dust extraction. And hopefully, I've given you a fair idea of what sort of space is required to not only fit the machine in, but then to operate it. So don't forget, if you liked the video, please hit like, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.